But if you are walking the hall at 100 miles an hour with your hair on fire, then everybody involved in this is going to follow that lead. You have to thread the needle. This is where you earn your money.
You don't try to minimize it. Well, it only hurt this thing about you, Mr. Client. Don't try to sell that.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Account Management, a tactical guide to success. You got Fred Fuller here, and on the other side of the table, my compadre, John Brown. John.
My good friend, Fred Fuller. How are you?
I'm great, man. You?
Yeah. You look great.
Yeah.
I like that shirt. I like a Hawaiian, I have a lot of Hawaiian shirts, and so I know I'm being sincere.
I do not trust you.
I don't blame you, but
Okay.
You're not wrong to feel that way. But
Okay,
nevertheless, here I'm being sincere. I like a good kind of something.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what happens when.
You know what I find when I wear a Hawaiian shirt is like the only people who like say anything to me about it are other old men. That nobody young and attractive says, "Oh my, I really like your Hawaiian." It's all old dudes, and I'm like, this is I don't feel like this is helping me in any way. Yes.
If a young, attractive woman said, "I like your shirt," I wouldn't know what to do anyway.
No,
I'd walk into a wall. I'd be like,
you would trip over your shoelaces.
Yeah,
right?
So anyway, why are we talking about that? But account management, John, I need you to focus.
Okay, let's get back to business.
Focus. Sorry. All right? Okay. Do you know what we're going to talk about today?
I'm pretty excited. Today we are going to talk about communicating during outages or emergencies.
This is where you make your money.
This is where you make your money.
I do. I really do. I love this topic because I'm like, this is, if things are going swimmingly, well, anybody can manage that. Right?
Yeah.
It's when things go bump.
Yeah.
That's where you make your money.
Well, after every outage or emergency where I've ever been involved as a leader, what I always say the same thing afterwards to the whole team. I'm like, it's a very old Navy saying, smooth sailing never made for a skillful mariner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Rough seas is how you get good.
Right. It's not fun.
Nope.
It's
don't
not
enjoy
fun,
it.
But it's where you get good. So we've talked about this many times. The account manager is the quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. They are the conductor of the orchestra. And so when we think about outages, I'm going to lead with we need to be proactive and not reactive.
Yes, that's what this whole episode's going to be about. Yeah,
right. Just being out front, mm-hmm. taking control, and doing the thing. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the first 15 minutes. What to say immediately. Mm-hmm. What's the first thing that you do? Right. Then communicate on the period you specified, even if nothing changes.
That's point number 2.
Point number 2. Point number 3, decide communication mode, whether it needs to escalate based on the size of the client and the nature of the outage.
Yep.
Big decision to be made there.
Yep.
Right. Number 4, internally align on messaging prior to later communications. Number 5, what not to say.
What not to say. Pretty important.
You got to pause there. What not to say. That's number 5. Number 6 is resolution message. And then number 7, subsequently extra focus on building trust. Also remember, service recovery can actually increase customer satisfaction.
Yes, that's the wrap to this whole thing. It's like sometimes this can actually make things better if you do it right.
If you do it right. So let's talk about the first 15 minutes. So something's gone bump. The lights are going off. Production support says, Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah, we should mention as we start. There's a subset of these types of problems, and here again, we're both technology executives. We tend to focus on that as kind of the thing. But I think this would, even if you're on a technology company, it's like any kind of sort of emergency. This sort of thing, works pretty well. So I think it generalizes. But we should say this is not specific to the subset issue of a security type outage or emergency. We're not going to talk about that today. I think we will try to cover that in a future podcast, but that is a whole subset of kind of ugliness. So what I'm talking about there is if you have a data breach of some sort, somebody breaks into your systems, somebody steals your data, somebody, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to talk about that today. This is just you're having a general kind of outage or emergency. So that's kind of the start. Yeah, the first 15 minutes, like what do you do first? First thing to do is
panic.
Just get excited. Start yelling.
Yelling across the hall, right?
Actually, our advice, Fred, is to remain calm and start to confirm with your clients that you are aware of this outage. So that's kind of point number one. Stay calm.
Okay.
All right.
I'm good there.
We're going to be calm from now on.
Okay, I'm going to be calm. I'm actually going to pause on this one.
Okay.
I love to joke and panic, and I think about Monsters Inc. when they say now is a good time to panic. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The calm is so important.
Really important.
And it's so important, more so for internal purposes than external purposes.
You got it.
People will take your cue. Your client is probably in another building, potentially in another state, so they can't see your physical, your body language. But if you are walking the hall at 100 miles an hour with your hair on fire, then everybody involved in this is going to follow that lead, right? So the calm is actually not to be understated. It is critical.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can accidentally kind of mess things up because the people who need to fix this, they need to be thinking. And if you are in their ear, not being calm and like asking a question every 5 seconds and kind of worked up, you are keeping them from thinking and actually solving the problem. So you actually, as the account manager, can cause, to your point, exactly, internal issue if you don't kind of remain calm.
Remain calm. And then the next one, I love the next one, which is set expectations for updates.
Yeah, that's right. So this is an initial communication to clients. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. Usually most organizations, particularly technology organizations, are going to have some means or method for doing this. If you're like a brand new startup, maybe not. But I remember in the old days, it was literally like
in the old
days, we used to
a horse, old Trigger. Got me into work every day back in the old days.
Back in the old days, we used to send out pager messages to the tech team for this, and and to this day, people still, a lot of companies will have a CRM set up where they can send out blast emails to everybody, right? So that's really common. Text messaging to clients is really common. There's a bunch of different modes. So your company probably already has this already in place, and if they don't, push to get it done ahead of the first emergency happening. Like you as an account manager, let's say you're the very first account manager that the company ever hired, which actually I've seen before, small companies, start to think about this now because it's going to happen. So you better get ahead of it, right? Don't wait until the day of, oh crap, we got to put together an email list or a text message list or whatever, right?
Yeah. I mean, phone trees they're there for a reason, right?
Yeah.
People put them together.
You know what else to do ahead of time? Come up with templates of verbiage you're going to use, which you can steal from the internet or even from ChatGPT these days, right? So like, I'll read an example. Like, quote, "We're currently seeing elevated error rates in transaction processing service, which may be impacting request completion and downstream integrations. Our engineering team is actively investigating and working to stabilize the system. We don't have an estimated resolution time yet, but we will provide another update within 30 minutes. Contact your account manager with any questions," right? Come up with those little template blurbs where you can throw the words in that need to be changed. Like, come up with 2 or 3 of those ahead of time.
Yeah, and I think the less is more, right? Like this is a great.
Yeah, that was actually kind of verbose. Like, you would go smaller than that, right?
Bottom line up front,
right?
Bottom line up front when you're communicating on these things. Nobody wants to hear what happened last Tuesday and then there was a patch and then somebody did a thing and then we then we downloaded a new subset of data into the system and then they don't want to know that.
4 sentences max,
right?
2 is good.
2 is great, right? So do not bury the lead. Be very, very succinct when you're talking about these things, internally and externally.
The other thing is in the upfront communication, however that goes out, don't speculate. We think we can get this fixed within 4 hours. No, don't speculate.
Do not. And this is one of the, and I've referred to this particular incident before many times, but there was so much speculation. I know what the problem is. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to fix it. Boom.
Somebody speculated with the client?
Great intentions. Great intentions.
How are they doing it with the client? Like
They
phone
were
call?
just on the phone with the client. Hey, man, I think it's this, blah, blah, blah. Boom, do that. They did it. Okay, that works. Break something else. Boom. And after about the third break, I literally sent an email to everybody and said, stop.
Stop speculating.
Stop. Everybody meet me in the conference room.
Yeah.
And we got in the conference room, and I remember that my boss was in there, and my boss thought I was going to do this thing where you know, some fire and brimstone and get everybody to focus. And I didn't do that at all. I just said, look, I am so grateful for this team. Like, everybody is trying so hard to fix the problem as quickly as they can, and that is just a beautiful thing. Let's all pause. Let's all just pause for a minute. Mm-hmm. Let's step back, and let's look at the body of evidence that we have to further identify what is the root cause here.
Yeah. Well,
and everybody was like, oh, like everybody thought it was going to be some lashing. And I'm like, why would I do that?
No, because you want to our point earlier, you want them to think. So if you start yelling, they'll stop thinking. They'll start worrying about being fired.
Yeah.
Well, this kind of goes without saying. It was implicit, I think, in that communication that we said where it's pre-baked, ready to go, is that it is your company's communication and it comes from your company, that you don't do something different than what your company is doing. And so if you're at a larger company, there's probably going to be a little bit of an approval process there. So if you're an account manager, you better know what that approval process is. You might be, as the account manager, the first person to notice it, whatever the problem is. I've seen that before.
Oh, yeah.
And you need to alert the right people, let them know we're having this problem, and then know what the chain of command is to approve that short, quick message that gets out there ASAP. To let everybody know.
I've been in environments where as soon as the production support people knew that there was anything at all going on, the business people were on the phone with me from the other side, the client, right?
Yeah.
They will many times know before you.
Right.
Right.
And that's bad.
That's bad, but that happens. And what do you do when that happens?
Hide.
You hide. You get in the fetal position.
Curl up in a ball.
No, when that happens, then you say, "Thank you so much for bringing this to my attention."
And you get that communication going. You start flogging whoever it is that has to approve it and say,
"That's right.
Let's get this going."
That's right. That's right. But you thank them for that information, right? Yeah. You lean into it. You don't. Well, how come I'm not here? And I can't believe. And what you don't do in that scenario, we're going to talk about this in one of the other points, is start talking about, well, I can't believe my team didn't tell me.
No.
Right? Like,
we'll worry about that later. Right?
All right. So that is that's kind of the first 15 minutes. Then communicate on the period you specified, even if nothing changes.
Yeah. So if you said initially, or even if you didn't say initially how often you're going to communicate, make a decision about how often to communicate. And, so we will provide you an update every, depending on the severity of the situation. Like a less severe partial outage, we'll provide an update every hour or every 2 hours. Right. That can work. If along the way you find out the issue is getting worse, that actually happens a lot, start saying, okay, we're going to go from doing this every 30 minutes to every 15 minutes.
Yep.
Right. Like, so go the other way. But point is, make a decision or force a decision to be made. If you're, again, not the decider, or there's somebody more senior than you as an account manager as a decider, force them to make the decision. Like, hey, how often do you want us to get a message out there? Make sure the question is asked and answered.
And again, no update, you still provide an update.
That's right.
If you say you're going to contact them every 30 minutes with an update, then you contact them every 30 minutes.
And the update is we are still researching the root cause of the issue. Like, you can say we don't know, but you still communicate. And as a matter of fact, we really, we don't know yet is an okay answer. But again, you never speculate. So don't make something up.
But follow that up with data, right? So when you get on the phone and you say 30 minutes later, and you get on the phone and you go, we don't have an update. We don't have any new discoveries to share. I can tell you that the same teams are still working on it. We have this group.
That's usually what I do. Is I will say we have a Tiger team working on this. We have a X team. We have our entire technical staff. We've got
Your team, Mr. Client, is giving us more than enough support.
We've called in everything.
Grateful for
we
that.
got the Harlem Globetrotters. We've got everybody working
do that,
on this.
right? Do that. And I love one of the sub bullets here is do not jump on the latest message from your tech team. First reports are mostly wrong.
Yeah. So in particular, like if it's synthesized, if you hear something from your tech team and it's gone through some layers and it's synthesized by the CTO who says, okay, you can tell the clients this, then probably that's fine. If you overheard in the hallway from one of the engineers, hey, I'm pretty sure it's this thing right here, be very careful about that.
Enjoying the podcast but want to learn more best practices for account management? Pick up a copy of A Dragon Walks Into a Meeting, a tactical guide to client management. Available at Amazon or wherever books are sold.
You know, this is a famous, I think it was Eisenhower or somebody like that who said this, first reports are mostly wrong, right?
Yep.
It has to bake a little bit. So we said a bunch of contradictory things here. Get the message out as fast as possible, but don't say the first thing that, we're saying this is a complex topic, right? Like you got to apply a lot of judgment to it. Yeah.
You have to thread the needle.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what this is. I said at the beginning, this is where you earn your money.
You need to really be, if an engineer tells you something and you really respect them and you think they know everything, you still need to make a judgment about they're under a lot of pressure also to get this fixed ASAP. They may jump to a conclusion and you can burn yourself later if you immediately put that out there to your client base and it turns out to be totally incorrect. And you and I have both seen that.
Yeah, it happens all the time, and
the story you told, I think it's basically that.
And when those things happen, right? When your team and their team aren't seeing eye to eye, or it goes into blame storming, again, you, account manager, are the one that steps in and says, "Hold on.
Right.
Like we're going to find the middle ground.
Yeah.
Right. This isn't productive right now. This is where we need to put our time and energy. That is your job."
Right.
As the account manager, right? You have to absorb that friction. We talked about a pin cushion before. You have to absorb that friction.
Yeah, totally.
So decide communication mode and whether it needs to escalate based on the size of the client and the nature of the outage.
Yeah, this is like a clear decision someone has to make. And again, it gets hard because like you're not the only vote. You might be the only vote if you're like a really small account management team. You might have to take the lead and make this decision, but make the decision or make sure that somebody does make the decision. So, are you going to do just like an in-product message? That's kind of one, if you have a tech product, that might be something like that. Are you going to do an email? Are you going to do a text message? And this is where you need to think about this, like depending on the nature of your client base, if it's fairly consolidated, like if you don't have that many clients or if they're really large, going from a mass email to a direct conversation with individuals might be really important. Like let's say you're having a really, really bad outage. You got a few key customers at a few key clients and, you as an account manager, can you make 10 phone calls in an hour? Yeah, you can. Well, it's hard. I mean, you might have to kind of make them sort of short, but you can do it. So start thinking about whether or not you need to do that, right?
And doesn't that change based on who you're talking to, right?
Yeah.
Right. So if you are mass email to provide updates for the entire group. Here's where we are. We've identified it. The patch is being built. It will go in this evening at approximately 8:00. That's got a massive amount of people on it. Mm-hmm. The senior client doesn't want to be on a big email chain. The senior client wants you to
personal touch.
They want the personal touch. So you're either going to text them directly or call them directly, and you can ask them, what do you prefer?
Yeah.
Right. But that's the point. So you're not going to have a one size fits all here if it's a big enough issue.
Yeah, and for certain people, you're going to have to translate from technical to business, and then some of your clients may be more technical people. You need to kind of be ready to speak, hopefully close, somewhat close to their level, right? So it's going to vary a lot. So everybody wants the neat and clean solution where it's just an email that gets punched out, and I don't have to do a bunch of heavy lifting. Depending on what it is, this might be. If you said at the beginning, this is where you earn your pay. I'll look to an account manager and say, get on the phone. Like, this is work. Sorry,
Well,
I had other things I wanted to do today also.
This is a great story. As an account manager once, we had a client that was doing an upgrade, and the upgrade went sideways. Mm-hmm. And it was just we were kind of fumbling along with it for lack of a better way of putting it. And we had one tech guy, one like architect, big brain, that was out with the client. And this thing's still just kind of a lot of turbulence. Walk into work the next morning. It was my client. And the CEO looked at me and he said, "You need to be in California yesterday." Mm-hmm. And I went, "Nice. Yeah, okay, you bet. You bet. Called my wife, pack a bag, please." Like that's account management.
Yeah,
right.
That's a great story.
Like
right.
You were going to be in California yesterday, and I was like, "You bet, I will."
Yeah,
you bet.
I feel like yes, I'm going to do
That's
that.
right. Yeah. So, to see who you're talking to and whose radar it's hitting, right?
Yeah.
When we talk about that, so internally align on messaging prior to later communications.
Yeah, as the incident ages, more people will get involved. Depending on the time of day, and so you're going to get, for anything that's major, your executive team is going to get involved if they're worth anything, and that's where the head of engineering or the CIO or the CTO or somebody like that is going to probably start kind of weighing in and driving more of the communication, and the communication becomes more organized and official. And what we would say when that starts happening, great, because it relieves you a little bit of burden of figuring out some things, which is super. What we'd say is, in general, just don't deviate from those points of view, whatever they are, right? Like kind of stick to the messaging provided. Don't speculate. Don't throw in your own opinions about the matter, right? And just be clear and transparent in that communication.
And this is the whole managing up and managing down, right? And so when you get that C-suite involved, the C-suite will often come to you with, "Let me tell you how to fix this." Mm-hmm. And you have to navigate through, like, maybe not. Let me give you the background here.
When you say navigate, let me tell you to fix this, meaning I know what to say to the clients. Here, you go say this to the clients.
It can be anything, right? It can be I know what to say to the clients. It can be technically we've seen this before, and I know exactly what the problem is, right? It can be any number of things where if it's on their radar, they will want to get involved.
Yeah.
And when they want to get involved, you have to very graciously make sure that involvement is aligned with the energy that's currently
you have to
in play,
make sure it's positive.
right?
Yeah, we talked about this before. There are certain executives that are not good account managers.
Right.
Right. Hopefully they know that about themselves, but some don't. And it's a big challenge. It's been a huge challenge in my career, to sort of have to guide them a little bit, and you can, you have to manage it and say, well, why don't you call the client and leave a voicemail that's kind of like this, and I'll follow up later with the, perhaps more apologetic, more sincere, conversation, right?
Yeah.
You might have to manage that.
You definitely have to manage that. So what don't you say?
Well, we talked about it a million times. Actually, it was a few podcasts ago. We talked about there is no they in the business.
That's right.
That team over there. They are messing up. No, you don't say that, right? So blaming internal or external parties. There is an exception, a little bit of an exception to that, which is if the external party is one of your vendors and they are having the outage or problem, and that is causing you to have the outage or problem, you can factually say it is due to them, but you do not add any extra language about they're bad people and I can't believe these guys. Try to keep it as dry and as sort of factual as possible. So one of the giant hosting companies, is having a problem. Probably your client knows about that already from other sources, right? So one of the AWS, Azure, all the large hosters and all the downstream technology, they might have heard about that already. So just keep it kind of dry to that, and don't say anything bad about them or lob on with your own opinions.
And I'd still say, as a general notion, if your product is not working, it is your problem.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so don't.
You need to be kind of factual about it, but still own it. And you would apologize and do all the things that you would do normally the same way.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just I've seen that mistake with account managers of, well, it's not us, it's them. So, and it's like, no, it impacts your project. It impacts your product. It impacts your operability. It's your problem. I don't care who owns the switch that's going to fix it. It's your problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So we talked about this, yeah. So don't blame internal parties either. The same thing like these IT guys. Can you believe it? Don't do that. That's sort of obvious. Another thing not to do is say we've never seen this before, which actually can be factually true. Like if you have a real sort of corner case, weird thing that happens, as gratifying as that can be to say that, hey, this is like a totally. What you're really trying to say is this won't happen again. That's really what you want to say.
Yeah.
And so the real way to do that is to and we'll talk about this in a second, is do root cause.
Yep.
That explains why this won't happen again. But don't say, we've never seen this before. Like it just sounds goofy. Yeah.
It sounds, it lacks maturity.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. It lacks maturity. There's an element of you've seen everything before, right? And again, here's the contradiction of lying, right?
The real point we're making is don't minimize the impact.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Don't try to minimize it. Well, it only hurt this thing about you, Mr. Client. Don't try to sell that.
Don't
it's
try
the
to
wrong
sell
moment.
And if you've done something special for that client, some sort of a modification to the system, and that's what breaks, stay away from things like, I knew this was a bad idea, or we knew this was going to be problematic.
Well, this is always going to be a risk.
But you'd be shocked at the number of people that will say those things.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Well, we told you, man. You're like, what? No,
don't say that. Yeah, that's also something else to not do.
Yeah, don't do that.
We did a podcast a while back about 10 things to not do as an account manager. Do you think there's another 10 in us that we could list out?
Oh, easy.
Almost mistakes we've personally made between
here and my house.
No, between you and me. It's like, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
no, it's so easy. That's the thing about it. It's a hard job. And we talk about this before, but it really is a hard job. You have a lot coming at you from a lot of different directions. Yep. You got product, you got marketing, you got clients, you got internal. It's not easy, but it's fun. I think it's fun because no day is the same. So we talk about what not to say. What about resolution messaging?
Yeah, the important thing on the resolution is, first of all, don't announce all clear too early.
Yep.
There will be tremendous pressure to get a message out that says, oh, everything's good now. It's all fixed. Is it all fixed? There are technology situations where some piece of information has to propagate through a system. And so it actually can take a while for you to know whether or not the issue is fixed. There's a lot of things about the internet that are kind of like that. Your tech team will push you real hard to sound the all clear whistle. And just be a little careful, be a little bit careful about that. So that's kind of point number one. And then the other things with kind of resolution message are, clarify the nature of the resolution. It's like it's a partial resolution, or we have a workaround, or everything is restored. Hopefully that's the message. But if it's sort of a partial resolution, be real upfront about that. Let's say in the instance it's all totally fixed. Definitely you always want to offer, if you need a personal consultation of some sort for your clients, that you're willing to do that. In the final part, and I have a lot of passion around this personally. You need to check in with your internal team before you offer to do this, but you may want to consider a formal root cause report that you can distribute to your clients.
Yep.
Right. The situation, executive summary, the situation, the timeline of events that happened, the short-term and the long-term corrective actions, right? There's many, you can just Google it. There's many formats out there, but something formal that says, hey, Mr. Client, really value your business. Really sorry this happened. Here's a formal report. Now, for every little thing that happens, would I do this? No. But for certain ones that are bad and it's bad, yeah, absolutely, I'd do it.
Yeah, and you volunteer it.
And you volunteer.
You don't wait for that to be a request.
Don't wait for that request to come in.
And don't go to them and say, "Hey, we were do a deep dive root cause thing. Would you be interested?" Don't do that. Just do it.
Right. Yeah. You don't. Hey, what do you think? Should we do? No. Just make a decision.
Just make a decision and do it. They will appreciate it.
Yeah. And even if you distribute it, even if some people at the client who probably should read it don't read it, that doesn't matter. They want to know that you care enough that you're going to invest the time and you're kind of investigating yourself. And like that's what an executive wants to know. I want to know that these guys,
Yep.
Give a crap.
Well, look, and again, the bottom line up front, and I harp on that because I know what happens when executives open any kind of an attachment or when they get an email. Like they tell me what I need to know.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Is it going to happen again? Great. They move on, right? They don't have time to stew on these things and stew it.
But do a good job anyway. Like you really want to have a nice write up because somebody will read it, and so you're
without a doubt. No, and I think that's my very point of like again, do a good job, do bottom line up front, make it super easy for them to consume.
Executive summary.
Executives they get a lot of information. They need to consume it and move on. And they don't want to have to read through 47 bullet points to get to here's what really happened and here's what we did about it and we're all good. Like that needs to be the very first thing they read, right?
That's the first little paragraph. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So that gets the list.
Oh, but one more thing.
Oh.
Which is this actually can be a good thing.
Oh. Yes.
You're right. And so it's called service recovery. It's actually a pretty well documented kind of human psychological phenomenon. Like if you ever had like a personal experience where, I don't know, you're checking into a hotel and they mess up your reservation, but then they're running around and then they give you a larger room, to compensate for the reservation being messed up. And you're like, oh, and then you're like delighted. That's called service recovery. And like you can wind up being happier as a client after it happens if you play your cards right and do all these things that we're talking about, right? And so this actually, having an outage actually, nobody really wants these things to happen, but like if you do it really well, it can wind up actually being a net plus.
And do it well. That is the key, right? Like do it well.
Right.
You're going...
Now, if it's totally terrible kind of problem or outage, it's not a net plus, trust me. And we'll talk about security incidents in another. Those are never a net plus, but it can be. Yeah, not always.
Well, they want to see how you respond under pressure and strain, and things will go bump, and that's just the way it is. That's software. That's the world we live in.
Right.
And how do you handle it when it does? It's going to.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
like
totally.
That's just the bottom line. So. And I love these principles, right? These sort of guiding principles around it of, the first 15 minutes, stay calm, right?
Stay calm.
Just relax, stay calm. Don't over communicate. Don't get over your skis, gather information.
Yep.
The second one, then communicate on the period you specified, even if nothing changes, right? So be dependable.
Yep.
Be dependable. They know they can count on you. They know you're working on it.
Right.
Decide the communication mode and whether it needs to escalate based on the size of the client and nature of the outage.
Yep.
Right. You're the quarterback.
And if you're not sure, over communicate. Do more than you have to.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Default to over communicating without a doubt, especially internally.
Yep.
Internally align on messaging prior to later communications, meaning figure out what that core communication is.
Talk to the boss.
Then as others come in, make sure that you're still aligned.
Don't get out there on your own and I kind of know what's going on. Start making phone calls. Like get aligned.
Stay grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. What not to say? People break those all the time, man. It's us.
Avoid the things to not say.
Us and we and me, but not them.
That's right.
Or he or whatever. Resolution messaging, make sure that is succinct. Do an incident report if it's a big enough incident that matters. It shows.
Don't go all clear too early.
Don't go all clear too early. That's a big one there. And then look, if you do these things properly, these things are going to happen. And if you do them properly, you can create raving fans.
Yeah.
Right?
If you show you really care.
Yeah.
That's half the battle. So.
Beautiful. Well done, Mr. Brown. Well done, sir.
Mahalo. I'm saying that because you're wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
I don't know what that means.
It's thank you in Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not domo arigato. Right?
That's a good time to sign off.
Arigato Gozaimasu.
I
I think
got
that's
it
how
now.
you say it, man. I'm not real sure, so I stumbled through it. I'm so
You spent
bad.
what, 2 weeks there, and you just you can't say.
I didn't, man. I wasn't running for parliament. Like,
Oh, okay, good point.
all right. For John Brown, Fred Fuller, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Learn more about the art and science of account management. Pick up A Dragon Walks Into a Meeting, a tactical guide to client management. Digital and print editions available at Amazon or your favorite bookseller. Fred and John would like to hear from you. Leave a comment for us on YouTube and head over to fuller-brown.com for more great content.